Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the March UFCW Local 1500 General Membership Meeting. Those of you looking for that handsome fella, Joe Waddy, who typically MCs our meeting, Joe's not with us tonight. He may pop on to our Facebook Live, but he's not here in person, nor is Secretary Treasurer Ali Waddy. They had a family personal situation, so they're not with us tonight, but they do want us to send their regards and well wishes. So you're stuck with me. I'm going to do my very best to cover all things that they would cover. And we have some special guests, so I'm going to shut up as quickly as I started this and introduce Robin Felrath from the Workforce Development Institute. She's going to come up. She's going to speak with you. She also has a PowerPoint presentation. So we're moving on up in the technology. So enjoy. Robin?
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you to the board and all the members who came out tonight and have tuned in as well. My name is Robin Felrath. I'm the Long Island Regional Representative for, the Long Island Regional Director for Workforce Development Institute, otherwise known as WDI. We're a statewide not-for-profit with a mission of creating opportunities for all New Yorkers to gain quality jobs with family-sustaining wages. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody that we originated through the AFL-CIO back in 2003, 20 years ago. And I always have to pause here because I think I'm incorrect when I'm saying that 2003 was 20 years ago, but in fact it is. So we have since expanded to be able to serve unions, employers, businesses, community-based organizations, and educational institutions as well, but we maintain strong relationships with our partners in labor. So I'm really happy to be able to be here tonight to talk a little bit about our child care subsidy facilitated enrollment program. I have a quick PowerPoint. It's about 7 to 10 minutes long. I'll run through it and then leave some space at the end for some questions and answers. And I'll preface this with I am not the resident expert for WDI in child care subsidy, so I will do my best to answer any questions. But if there are questions that I can't answer this evening, I promise to report back to our child care team and loop back around and provide that information to you. And so here's our PowerPoint. You can click to the next slide, please. So again, just a little bit more about the Workforce Development Institute. We're a statewide nonprofit. We strengthen New York's workforce, and our CCFFEP, which is our child care subsidy program, aims to provide stability for working families through equitable access to high quality and affordable child care. So right now, our child care program, historically, we've existed in 8 counties in upstate New York. We also, the program is also administered in the 5 boroughs of New York City through CWE, another not-for-profit organization. And we're very happy to say that in last year's budget, the program was expanded to encompass Nassau and Suffolk counties. We currently have an agreement to operate within Suffolk County. So as of right now, this program is only available to Suffolk County residents. You can work in Nassau County. Your children can attend childcare in Nassau County, but you have to reside in Suffolk County at this current point in time to apply for this program. So this is just a little bit of participant-reported data on the benefit of the subsidy program. This is based on a survey that goes out annually to individuals who take advantage of the program. And it just shows some both professional and personal benefits of individuals that they're reporting that they have seen. So improved attendance, increased productivity, retention of employment. And all of this, of course, is because individuals are not focused on where their children are and concerned about whether or not they're being taken care of. And then what really stands out to me about this is the 32% of individuals who report that they're able to provide increased nutrition for their families, because I think that really speaks not only to the cost savings associated with the program, but also the quality of life improvements as well. And actually, if you could skip one slide further. Great. So this is the eligibility criteria. You have to have residency in one of the counties served by WDI. And so right now that's Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, Schenectady, Erie, Monroe, Onondaga, Oneida, and Suffolk counties. So you have to have residency in one of those counties. You have to have children under the age of 13. Each parent in the household has to work a minimum of 10 hours a week. And a caveat to this is work could also include a training program. You could be involved in an educational program, workforce development program as well, and that would count towards your 10 hours of work. and household income that falls within the income guidelines, which we'll get to in the next slide. So something of note here is that the parents do not have to be U.S. citizens, but the child does have to be a U.S. citizen. We do get that question sometimes, so just adding that here. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll see what this subsidy can be used for. So what's really unique about this program is that participants can select a daycare. They can use the subsidy to provide before care, after care, and even for summer camps. In addition, they can work with state licensed childcare providers, but they could also work with a legally exempt provider. So that could be a non-parent trusted relative or friend who's watching the child in the home. That individual just needs to register, in our case, with the Suffolk County Child Care Council in order to receive payout from the Department of Social Services. So that's something that's unique as well. We recognize that child care is, difficult to access in some counties, and so that working with relatives or friends of a family that are trusted to take care of the child is sometimes a better fit for individuals. And here are the income guidelines. So this is based on 300% of the federal poverty level. You'll see that it's effective June 1st through May 31st. That is because the federal poverty level numbers change every year and they're released and updated in June. So these are the current levels based on family size and maximum income. And so the way we determine family size is the number of children in the household, the applicant themselves, and anyone who is married to or has common children with the applicant. So if there's a single mother who has 3 children, her boyfriend resides in the home and is the father of one of the children, that would be considered a family of 5. So there's a lot of nuances here. What we always suggest is that folks go through our pre-screening process. Even if they think they might not be eligible, it asks a bunch of questions specific to how these calculations are done based on our calculation and our definition of the family size and income. So we always encourage folks to fill out that pre-screen because they may, it may come back that they're eligible and they might not have even realized it. So, we always encourage folks to go through that process. And then if you wouldn't mind skipping back to the, perfect, thank you. So this is just a little bit about how the program works. Applicants complete the pre-screening on our website. That's the preferred method. We have the pre-screening available on the website. People can fill it out there. We also have the option to call in and speak with one of our child care associates. If individuals need language services, they can call in and we have translation services available as well, so folks can fill out that pre-screening over the phone utilizing that translation service. So the applicants will complete a pre-screening. If they are determined to be potentially eligible, it's a great thing about our program is the pre-screening tool because we're able to identify whether or not somebody, based on a few questions, may be eligible for the program instead of having to just give them the very hefty application to fill out and having them go through all the time of filling that out if they're not going to be eligible. So after they complete the pre-screening, if it looks like they might be eligible, we send out an application to the client. The applicant completes the application, and this is where WDI's facilitated portion of the child care program comes in. So we work directly one-on-one with the individual to help them fill out the application. They send us the pieces as they fill them out. We'll highlight any areas that they forgot to fill out. If there was a signature that they missed, we will draw their attention to that, and we'll make sure that everything is completely ready to go before we submit it to DSS. So while WDI's child care funding is a separate funding pot, all final determinations are done by the Department of Social Services. So the completed application will be submitted to DSS. They, by law, have up to 30 days to approve or deny the application. And if approved, DSS will contract directly with the provider. They have up to 30 days, but if they approve the application on the 29th day, they backdate it to the day that the application was submitted, and so that month will be retroactively paid. If approved, the provider and the client will each receive a letter from DSS with a start date and the family share amount. So a family share amount is the contribution that the families have to pay towards child care. In Suffolk County, that is currently 1%. So individuals who are paying $300 to $400 a month are now paying between $5 and $10 a month. So it's a really substantial impact for these families. And the applicant will pay the provider their share directly. So this is just a quick recap. The funds are available for income eligible families who reside in Suffolk County and the other counties served by WDI and work or participate in a training program for a minimum of 10 hours per week. The subsidy can be applied to licensed, registered, or legally exempt daycare, after-school, or summer camp programs. And right here you'll see our website, our phone number, and a QR code that you can scan, and it will take you directly to our pre-screening on the website. I also have brochures for folks who are in attendance today that they can bring them back to the stores and hand them out to folks who might be interested in learning more about the program as well. And I don't know if anyone has any questions or concerns. Any questions?
You should let them know we're going to spread the QR code in some of your materials
Yes.
tomorrow on all our social.
Perfect. So I will also share all of our flyers as well as the website, phone number, and QR code, and it'll be shared on this Facebook page tomorrow.
Go ahead, Greg.
Will this eventually become available in more counties? Is this something that's growing?
So it's something that is approved through the state legislature. They determine what counties the program is available in, and then WDI contracts directly with the counties to administer the service.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions from the crowd? Well, Robin, thank you.
Robin, thank you very much.
How many times you think on a Facebook Live the members have to hear that? It's a great sound. So, thank you. Just before we jump to our next speaker, I do just want to say a few things. Obviously, those of you that have been here before, either in person or on Facebook Live, you know that we have folks writing down your name and store number on an attendance card if you're watching on Facebook Live so that you can qualify for the raffles at the end of the meeting. Additionally, if you have questions, we have 2 reps that are monitoring the chat all throughout this meeting. They will document all your questions and make sure that I get them before the end of the meeting, and we'll open the floor for a Q&A. Right now, Tariq is sitting right behind the computer, so if my eyes look a little buggy, it's because I'm staring at somebody and I shouldn't be. Thank you, Tariq. I love it when he just pops up in the middle of a meeting. He's like Mr. Deeds. So at the end of this, I'm just going to introduce the next speaker, so I don't want to kill Tariq. I'd like to bring up from Fusco, Brandon, Stein, and Rada, our workers' comp and disability attorneys, a young man who you've never met before but works for the firm for quite a while. His name is Dennis Houston. So, Dennis, if you could come up and take my seat.
Excellent. Very nice to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I'm Dennis Houston. I'm with the law firm of Fusco, Brandon, Stein, and Rada. And in terms of my law firm, we handle any sort of disability matters that you guys have. In terms of what I do, I'm a workers' compensation attorney. And in terms of workers' compensation, a couple of things that you guys have to know to make sure to protect yourself. If you have any sort of accident on the job, number one, make sure you report the accident. When you report the accident, clear, concise statements. Don't give the insurance company any reason to fight you, because they will. Number two, make sure you go to a doctor. And when you go to the doctor, make sure you relay every sort of complaint and anything that you have going on. You don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, 9 months, a year from now. And a lot of times injuries don't develop until some time goes. So in terms of me, I can only make arguments based upon your doctor's medical reports. So like I said, you got to make sure you tell the doctors everything that's going on. Number three, you get in touch with my office. In terms of my office, any sort of consultation with my office is free, and what we'll strive to do is to get you the most possible, as quickly as possible, especially if you're out of work. Obviously, if you have any sort of accident that you can't go back to your job, there's going to be some hardship. And what my office tries to do is we try to alleviate that hardship. The second class of injuries that workers' compensation covers is something that's called an occupational disease. That's something that is due to repetitive motions and occurs over the course of time. So any sort of repetitive job duties that you guys are doing, packing, stocking, things like that, if you wind up having any sort of issues and you think it's related to your job, get in touch with my office. What we'll do is we'll file the claim for you. We'll get you to a doctor, and we'll try to get you everything that you're entitled to. My office also does Social Security disability, and that's if you have any sort of career-ending injury or as you guys get closer to retirement age, it's always a good idea to consult with my office because you may be entitled to Social Security disability, and that's another area of law that we handle. So you guys are a very hard-working group. We love representing you, and if you guys have any sort of issues or need anybody, you can always turn to my office, and we'll try to give you, the guide and where to go. So, thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. I'm gonna hang out in the back for a little bit. If anybody wants to come up and chat, I got some materials, and I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Bryce. Appreciate it.
All right, not bad for his first time, right?
Yeah, good.
All right, Mr. Santopia, the floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be up here talking. We have a few events coming, fundraising events. We have the New York Islanders versus Toronto Maple Leafs. We have a raffle that we're using to raise money for our local 1500 scholarship fund. And you can buy raffle tickets, $5 per ticket, or 5 chances for 20. There are 4 tickets. They're in a great section, section 106, row 10, seats 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can use Venmo. And Local 1500's Venmo is UFCW, the word local, 15 spelled out, hyphen 100, and 100 spelled out. And just when you make the purchase, just make the note that it's for the Islander raffle.
And put their name and store number.
And your name and store number will take care of it. Our second event, which is on the same date, is the blood drive on March 21st. It's 1:45 to 7:45. And we still have plenty of slots for donating blood in the late afternoon and in the evening. So please sign up and donate blood, because for every pint of blood you donate, you're saving 3 lives. And it really goes a long way. In May, we have the Dutchess County Bowl-a-thon in Fishkill at the Schneider's Bowling Alley.
Is it Schneider or Snyder?
Snyder's.
It's Snyder's.
That's right. Okay.
You made it
Snyder's.
Italian, it's German, it's
Okay.
Snyder's.
Can't help it. Desmond Byfield and Greg Pasquale are running that event, and it's usually a wonderful time. It's out in Dutchess County, but it is a wonderful event, and they usually do well, and we hope to get the same participation from the members up there. Our last event that is scheduled so far, but we plan to have more events. But right now, Governors and Levittown Comedy Club is scheduled for Sunday, June 11th. A lot of the tickets have been sold already. Miss Gwelly, Gina, has done a great job on that, but I believe she has some more tickets available. So if anybody's interested in that, they can reach out to Gina. Her extension is 1322, and we will get you tickets. Look out for future events. I know we always have our fishing trip out in Suffolk County, and I know a lot of the reps are going to be raffling off gift baskets and a lot of other events. So
Liquor.
I've
I've heard liquor will be raffled also.
We need your help to raise money for good causes. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I'll stay clear of my usual comments after you make a speech, so I'll just say thank you tonight. All right, now you're stuck with me for a while, so buckle up, and I apologize. So let's start in no particular order. Those of you that were here when I read the minutes from January, some of what I'm going to go into expands upon the minutes from the executive board in January. So let's start with probably one of the biggest events so far this year for us. We were successful in negotiating a new 61-month contract with the King Cullen Grocery Company. If you were following that process, we were not exactly going in the right direction, and it took a lot of time and a lot of patience. We had an outstanding committee that was accented not only by our two executive board members, Dan Gleason and George Roman, who work for King Cullen, but it was really strapped down by a lot of seniority at the table from the members at King Cullen, as well as Secretary Treasurer Ali Waddy and EVP Recorder Joe Waddy. To be quite honest with you, I had nothing to do with this negotiations. They took care of it from start to finish. It was two different time frames and over 12 sessions. If you've never done contract negotiations and you've never done one that goes 10 or 12 sessions, I can guarantee you it gets extremely frustrating. You're consistently beating your head against the wall over the same handful of issues, and it gets to the point where you actually start to snipe with the people that you're on the same side with. And I think if you speak to most of our folks at Cullen that took that opportunity and stood up for their membership to negotiate, they'll tell you that at times their committee room, our committee room with the union and the committee was a little bit snippy. And that happens. You're all there to try to get the best possible contract that you can get for yourself, your families, and your coworkers. And at times, emotions can run high. I am extremely proud of everyone who was involved in this settlement. To go from a concern about a potential job action and taking the first strike authorization at King Cullen in over 20 years to getting a settlement that was unbelievably overwhelmingly ratified at store level and represented over 30% of the population at King Cullen casting a ballot for or against this settlement. That's what we look for. That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for us, without question. And I'm extremely proud because for a little bit of time I thought it was going to get a heck of a lot dicier than it did. So to the entire team, especially the membership negotiating committee, thank you very much. I'd name you all, but I guarantee I'd forget at least one of you. But I can tell you that it was a group effort, and the membership coming out and showing in force the night of the strike authorization, getting the media coverage that we did on Channel 12 went a long way to finding a solution to a very difficult problem. So congratulations to all our folks at King Cullen. For those of you that don't work at King Cullen, you should be aware that the last time we negotiated a contract there was just over 5 years ago, and the company was in a pretty difficult position as it relates to their financial position. The company was on the market. Most of you probably know Stop and Shop made an attempt to purchase the company that eventually fell through shortly after COVID, but the contract negotiated wages in that contract versus this one was significantly less. In this contract, our full-time senior full-timers actually got a wage increase that was 63% higher than the wage increase in the previous contract. Our midterm full-timers got an increase that was 41% higher than the wage increases in the previous contract. And our long-term part-timers got an increase that was 76% higher than the increase last time. And our midterm part-timers got an increase that was 41% above the increases last time. You take all of those things without a strike, without taking a strike and a ratification bonus on top. That's an unbelievable job, well done by everyone involved. Now, I'm sure there are folks out there, anybody can find one or two things that maybe you would have liked to have seen been done different. And I think if you ask some of our committee members, they would tell you that themselves. But this is, without question, the best deal that we could have negotiated with this employer, and it's the best deal that this company has seen in more than 20 years. So I think it's something we should all be proud of, and I hope that you all feel the same way that I do. For those of you that don't work for King Cullen, it's just as important for you because this contract bridges a rash of very successful settlements that this local's had, and it just sets the table for upcoming collective bargaining agreements with not only our union and our other employers, but with other unions and their employers in the grocery and the food manufacturing industry. It's very, very important at all costs that we do everything we can to maintain the working standards and working conditions, whether it's our stores or assist other unions to maintain the working conditions and standards in theirs. Because it's all cyclical, it's all impactful, and no matter what, no one is on an island. So, again, congratulations to the folks at King Cullen. Another contract recently settled by our contract committee led by Joe Waddy and Ali Waddy was a company called Pomegranate. Pomegranate is a kosher food market located in Brooklyn on Coney Island Avenue. It's a former Local 1718 shop. We've been involved with the former Local 1718. It's now been merged into Local 888 from New Jersey, the UFCW local. We've been involved there for about 20 months. Pomegranate is one of the shops that we've been servicing for that entire time. We just recently negotiated a new successful contract with them for 3 years. I think it's really important that you understand that the stores that we've been representing put us back into the kosher food industry. We represent 5 Gourmet Glots, Pomegranate, Aaron's Casino Farms in Queens, as well as a company called Preferred Meals and another company called Cedar Markets in New Jersey. So it's important, I think, for you to understand it's a different animal, the kosher food business, but it's not one that's foreign to us. This local's had kosher representation for many, many years. We've just had a couple of years off from it. We welcome that industry back to Local 1500. Our representative on the ground for this entire project is Juan Guardado, but I think recently the local made a move that's going to help us out into the future. He's somewhere in the room. There he is. Iz, you want to come up here real quick? So, just look at the screen. When they can see you, they can see you. This young man standing behind me is Israel Cruz. Israel is a former worker at Gourmet Glot in Woodmere. He was a member of Local 1718, and now he's a member of our staff. Israel was hired as a membership servicing rep last month. Or was it January? In January, excuse me. And he's been working every day with Juan Guardado. So, anything you want to say? Nothing like putting you on the spot, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
He's never at a loss for words. That's all right.
So yes, I did come from the shops, working with Juan and seeing the difference from where I'm coming from in the 1500 shops. I'm learning a lot. I'm glad to be a part of the team, and I hope that we continue to do good things.
Thank you, brother. Welcome to the squad. See how it is when you work here? Somebody just calls you up front and throws you right on Facebook Live with no warning. No, I'll be honest with you. I'm very happy with Israel's progress so far, and I'm sure that you'll see him in your stores when you do. I think you should talk to him, and I don't think you should talk to him just because you should get to know him. I think you should talk to him because Israel can give you a little bit of a different viewpoint of what it's like to work in a supermarket that, even though it's organized, is not really policed at the same level that we police our shops. It's not serviced the way we service our members. It doesn't have the same level of benefits and emoluments that all of our contracts currently enjoy. And I think you'll learn a lot about people that work in the same exact industry as you, that do the same jobs in different locations, and what's out there and some of the conditions and the things that they have to go through, the occasional fear that's on the job that none of you really have. I think there's a lot to be learned from Israel, and I think he's been had a very good impact on our staff and a very good addition. And we look forward to having him here for a long period of time. So, welcome aboard. Sorry, but I had to kind of, moving cars, and I got to push you in front, man. That's how we roll. And this actually was planned, though. There's a little thing on my notepad. So thank you for another great settlement at Pomegranate that was overwhelmingly accepted about a month ago. Additionally, Local 1500 successfully negotiated new contracts at Columbus Foods in Manhattan, IGA Food Basket in Bayville, and Associated in Rockville Center. Those contracts are all different lengths. I believe Columbus Foods is a year, Food Basket, I believe, is 2, and Associated Rockville Center is a 5-year contract. They're all single stores, but they all have different pluses and minuses to them. They both deal with, they all three deal with different working condition issues and competition issues. Rockville Center has actually been with us, Associated in Rockville Center, and that company have been with us for an extreme length of time. Their company number is 29. And for us, we're at company 1357 now, so that's an indicator of how long Associated of Rockville Center has been affiliated, pardon the pun, with Local 1500. So we're very happy to report those 3 settlements as well. Our organizers are in the building, and I'm going to ask that you 5 get up. Oh, where's Danny from Miami? All right, well, come on up. Somebody's going to go shake Daniel out of the restroom, so that's how we roll here at 1500. All right, so standing behind me are 4 of our 5 staff organizers from Local 1500. Here comes Danny. Come on, Daniel. Poor guy, he tried to go to the restroom. Bad timing. All right, so over my left shoulder is Dan Byers. There you go, Daniel. Good job. Standing next to him is Shane Jones, Rafael Hernandez, Kira Elman, and Matias Cordoba. This is the 5 organizers that Local 1500 has on the field every single day. And these 5 individuals deserve an overwhelming round of applause because in the last month and a half, Actually, it's less than a month. Since Valentine's Day, they've won 3 elections in a row at Blank Street Coffee. This campaign encompasses 41 carts and coffee shops throughout New York City, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. We're organizing these shops in neighborhoods, which is groups of stores based on geography. There are 6 in the company. We have 5 that we filed election for. 3 we've won. The next 2 have ballot counts on April 6th. This is also the same crew that helped organize 1 Petey's Pies and is on our way to organizing the 2nd. They also organized Forager's Market in 2 locations and Square Roots Urban Growers. So if we're going to grow, it's going to be not because of me, not because of these 2 gentlemen here. It's going to be because of the 5 people behind us. So I think, once again, for all of you on Facebook Live and for those in the room, let's give these folks a fine round of applause. Now you can go to the restroom if you want. Thank you. Shane's like, you want me to stay? Shane don't care. He's like, camera? No problem. I'm ready to roll. But I mean what I said. This local cannot continue to sustain itself without growth, without trying to organize new shops. We've organized shops in agriculture, we've organized food manufacturing, and we've organized supermarkets. It's a really, really great feeling to be the president of this union and have it do something that it hasn't done successfully with any consistency in the 25 or 30 years that I've been affiliated with this local, and that's win organizing campaigns. I think it's pretty easy and it's pretty obvious to say that there's a little bit of a different feeling for organized labor, especially in America right now, between the Amazon Labor Union, Starbucks Workers United, and a whole host of campaigns that started at Google and at Apple stores. And I'll be honest with you, I think that has something to do with it, but I don't necessarily think that's the reason we're successful. I think the reason we're successful is we finally found the secret sauce. We finally found the right team. We have a group of people that is not only willing, but more than capable to listen to every worker across any industry that we can represent. They listen to what their issues are. They let them speak. They don't tell them what they should know. They don't try to force feed campaigns down workers' throats. They wait, the campaigns come to them. They establish an incredible amount of trust, and I think every one of our victories has been overwhelming, and no close calls, no 13-12 wins. Every one of their victories has been significant, and I think that's a testament to us finally putting the right team together and them working together with the rest of our staff in a very, very incredible manner. So thank you to the 5 of you. We look forward not only to these victories becoming collective bargaining agreements, but many more. Kira's like, stop putting pressure on me. But no, I mean it. We've won more in the last 2 years than I think we won in the 25 years prior. So for me being that president, I get all the credit, but I assure you I'm not the one responsible for any of the success. So thank you. We referenced Square Roots Urban Growers a few times. Fortunately, we were able to negotiate a contract, and the first contract for an agriculture worker in the state of New York was the folks at Square Roots Urban Growers. Unfortunately for us, shortly after that contract was negotiated, ratified, and the retroactivity and wage increases hit the members' paychecks, the employer announced that it was going to close up operations in New York City. Square Roots Urban Growers does have operations in multiple places across the country. I can tell you that the UFCW is not going to let them run quietly, a non-union in other locations as well. We believe the main reason the company has shut its operations in New York City is because of us, because we organized the shop. Now, again, I'm not trying to say that the union closed the shop. What I'm trying to say is, in some cases, wealthy business people would rather do no business in a particular area than do business when their workers are represented by a union. In this particular case, we're going to continue to organize in the urban farming industry. We have some very good connections in multiple other farms across New York City, and we're going to continue to be successful organizing in that space. So to the folks at Urban Farms, and to the folks at Square Roots Urban Growers, we're still with you. We got you back. You know that we're working on an effects bargaining package for you, as well as a few things through the UFCW grant program. I would just ask that you be patient with us, and let's try to continue to work together as you move from shop to shop. That's some unfortunate news, but if we can spin it positively and make this a better impact situation for these workers, that's exactly what we want to do. You're staring at me. Did I miss some?
No.
All right. I don't know. Maybe I had a hair in my ear. I don't know. He gives you this burning sensation when he stares at you. So our pension department probably has to work more manually than any other department here at 1500. And that's because our pension software system, I think it was written originally by Moses. Some of Moses's closest friends used to repair it for us, and they've all retired. So, we're struggling here. And our two clerks in the pension department, Terry Gorman and Monique Suarez, quite frankly, they work their asses off every single day to make sure that every member's pension, when they come in here to file for their retirement, is as accurate as it can be. They triple check every single credit. They make sure that it's everything that needs to be qualified is qualified. All documentation is filled out. If you need paperwork, they're trying to send it to you. They expedite processes when people have personal issues or hardships, and it's a great situation. Now, for us, as much as we love the job that they do, we cannot continue to have this become, a pencil and paper and an abacus. We need to get ourselves a hell of a lot more technologically advanced. So the trustees of the pension fund agreed to start us down a path to get new software for our pension system. In the long run, some 18 to 24 months from now, God willing, we will have a new pension software in place, which will not only make their lives a hell of a lot easier, it'll make the system and the process a lot more transparent for you. Any member who qualifies for a pension will be able to log on to a member portal. You'll be able to pull forms down, see what you've done, sign off on documents. You'll be able to see what your prospective pension would be at a specific age. And quite honestly, you'll be able to get information about your pension without having to pick up a phone, send an email, or come to 425 Merrick Avenue. And for our clerks in the pension department, that means their lives will get a little bit easier. I don't think they're going to have less to do. I just think it'll probably take you a little bit less time to do some of the things that you do now. I think it'll make the process a lot more transparent for our members. You'll have the opportunity to pull down summary plan descriptions and specific documentation that you might need to understand the pension program a little bit better. And it's only something that's going to grow from there, hopefully, in with our other funds. But the primary point of focus for this new software is to get the pension calculation software system updated to something that is of today's standards and a heck of a lot more transparent for our participants in the pension fund. Now, Paul, make sure that he told me to make sure I repeated this. This will not be in place for 18 months to 24 months. Paul said to me that by tomorrow morning, somebody will call the pension department and yell at the girl and say, he said that there was a new system and I can't find it. Let's see if Paul's right or wrong. I hope not. I hope Paul's wrong, not right. But it will take a good 18 months to 24 months for this system to be implemented, for all the data to be picked up out of the old system and dropped and then verified in the new system so that we don't have any issues going back. If you don't know how our system works, I can tell you that not only do they look at a computer system, they look at paper records that were written in the 70s. At some points, they're comparing 2 or 3 different files to try to make sure that every single T is crossed, every I is dotted, and that every credit that should be awarded is. They look for breaks in service. They look for continuity in service. They look for contiguous service. Sometimes they award members different credits and different bridges that they're not even aware that they should have, and they do a fantastic job. So this software will go a long way to making that process a lot cleaner and certainly a lot more understood by the membership. So we look forward to that. But again, third time for you, because you got to say things 3 times, it's 18 months to 24 months away. If it's coming sooner, I'll be proud to tell you that. All right, but we're excited about it. And yes, for those of you who like to say, still drinking Monster. Okay. Last week, Thursday, some of you probably saw our staff in front of a select few stores, both ShopRite and Stop and Shop. We were out there hand-billing the public and trying to get signatures on a petition regarding a modification in how Gatorade and Propel water are handled at store level. So historically, Gatorade and, well, Propel is not something I would call historical, but Gatorade itself was something that was always handled by the membership of Local 1500. PepsiCo bought the rights to distribute and service Gatorade and Propel water. They've basically informed every single supermarket company that they do business with that they're either going to take over that delivery and service, or they have a projected plan of attack in different areas, different banners, and different sections of the country, and they're going to roll it out from east to west, north to south. For us, that means that the employer is allowing a vendor to take business away from us. So we started this leafleting process. It's something that's going to affect us in the supermarket industry, no matter what state we work in, and no matter whether you're union or non-union. So for us, we filed a grievance based on past practice, both in all 5 ShopRite companies, Village Fairway, and Stop and Shop. And when it starts to spill into the other companies, we'll do the same. I can tell you that our goal is to ensure that there's no loss in hours in the grocery department, whether or not we can continue to impact the handling of Gatorade or Propel. And we're in active negotiations along with every other local union in the RWDSU and the UFCW on the East Coast that's services grocery store members. So that's where we are today on the Gatorade and Propel Water. I would ask that you continue to support any potential picket lines or have yourselves and your families sign the petitions to notify your employers that this is not something that we're in agreement with, and we think they have to negotiate some type of effect with the union that would benefit our members. Let's get this to a deeper conversation. This piece of it is not really about Gatorade and Propel Water to me. You know, over the course of any given day, over the course of any different banner, and over the course of your career, what you do and how you do it changes dozens of times, in some cases maybe even hundreds of times. But the one thing I can tell you beyond a reasonable doubt is I don't pack out in the supermarket anymore. I did it. I was really good at it. I loved it. But I don't know what's going on in your shops. And all I'm telling you is we need you to be more vocal. We need you to be a lot more upfront and stop assuming that me or your reps know everything that's going on in your store, that we know something has changed. If something that historically has not been packed out by one of our members is coming into central warehousing and becomes our responsibility, we want to know about it. If something that you packed out every year of your life stops becoming your responsibility, they try to move it out of the bargaining unit work section, we want to know about it. If your working conditions change in any way, we need to know about it. That's the only way we're going to be able to successfully service and help our members. Our reps are in the stores every day. Our service reps are in the stores, our directors and assistant directors. But if there's no communication to a change in your working conditions, we're never going to know about it. We don't have the same ability that we did before. You know, some of our staff have spouses or friends that are in management in some companies, and we do get some information that way. But that's few and far between. We need the messages delivered directly from the membership to our stewards, from the membership to your reps, from the stewards to the reps. It's just got to get uphill. That's the only way we're going to be able to react timely. It's the only way we're going to be able to best service you and take care of issues as they come. Trying to fix a problem after it's already in place is an uphill battle, and it's going to make any solution a much more difficult solution. So letting us know ahead of time, best course of action, okay? Please don't assume. I guarantee you we're going to be in the wrong the more you assume. So let's try to make everybody right. FIFA. FIFA is the organization that controls the World Cup. Whether or not you're a soccer fan, last year I'm sure you had a brush with FIFA. If you don't know this, FIFA is one of the juggernauts in the globe. Soccer is not really set in as much in the United States as it is globally. But in 2026, FIFA is coming to Canada, the United States, and Mexico. They're the three host countries for the tournament. New York City does not have a compliant stadium at present moment, nor will it probably by 2026. So the fan fests and everything are going to descend on New York City because we are the greatest city in the world. And that's going to have an impact on our membership. It's going to have an impact on our employers. All I can tell you is that the World Cup is the Super Bowl times 1,000, and it lasts for more than 30 days. So if you want to consider that type of crush of people coming into New York City, it's going to impact commuting. It's going to impact your ability to move around. It's going to impact the sales in our stores, deliveries, parking. Everything that we do on a regular basis throughout the city of New York is going to be impacted for the 30 to 45 days because they are expanding the tournament this year. Typically it's 30 days. I think it could go as long as 45. But it's really, really important that we try to get in front of issues that could impact our members and impact their families. You know, people sometimes cut it real close. You're jumping from job to job. You go from school to work. You need to get home. You need to pick up a child. You need to relieve a spouse. There's 1,000 reasons our members cannot have their travel or their lives altered or displaced in some capacity. So we're trying to get in front of it as much as we can. We're working with a labor roundtable with the New York City Central Labor Council. It's being led by Xiomara, who's phenomenal at the CLC. And we're not only trying to ensure that we have a smooth transition throughout that process for our members, but we're also trying to get some of our employers, the business, to help with catering for the FIFA occupied hotels, as well as some of the ability to sell wares at vendor stands throughout all the fan fests. This is going to be very heavy in New York City at Central Park. It's going to be heavy in Brooklyn and heavy in Queens and Flushing Meadow Park, and I forget the park in Brooklyn. Prospect Park. But I can tell you, it's 2026. It seems like it's a long way out there. I assure you it's not, especially when you talk about the quite literally millions and millions of additional tourists that are going to be in the city. People literally mortgage their entire lives, their life savings, to see their teams play if they advance in the World Cup. And that type of energy is going to be all over Manhattan. It's a great opportunity for your employers to make additional sales. It's a great opportunity for our members to bank a lot of OT, I'm sure. But it's also going to be a bit of a disruption to everyday life, and we need to try to make sure that we get in front of it. It's not just a boon for the sales department, it's also potentially a very significant impact. So if there's things we can do about trying to relocate members to different areas or get people that are traveling out of the city to stay in the city and vice versa, that'll be a much more beneficial situation both for you, your families, and the company. So that's all stuff that we're working on, even though it's 3 years out. Zach Levitan from our political department and Paul Santarpia are working with me on that project, and we're going to continue to monitor it as we get closer to 2026. We have some upcoming bargaining that's going to be in the next couple of months. We have the Pickwick Managers Contract. We're very happy that we got the Pickwick and both legacy and new store contracts negotiated in October of 2022. But the Pickwick managers have a separate contract. They have not yet been to the table. There's been some preliminary conversations, but we're going to be stepping to the table with that company sooner rather than later. Based on the success we had at King Cullen Grocery, we're hoping to have similar level of success with the King Cullen Pharmacy contract. I believe there's a meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks. I was also notified today by the company that they're closing the pharmacy in Middle Island, store number 37, next week. I guarantee you it has nothing to do with the fact that we're bargaining the King Cullen pharmacy contract. It was just the timing of it. There are no layoffs planned, and I know that Steve Ziner has been in communication already with the folks at the pharmacy in store 37. So never good news when we lose any facet of our representation, but in this case, without a layoff, and my understanding is that pharmacy was creating a little bit of a fiscal drag for the store, so hopefully it'll create a better opportunity for that store from a sales perspective. There is absolutely no truth to the rumor that the store is also going to close. The store has plans to be there for another couple of years at least, so it's just a pharmacy situation. We're back at the table with Scotoro. In April of this year, they signed a very short-term deal last go-around to try to make sure that they could get their ducks in a row. Last time we met with them, it was a little bit difficult from a fiscal perspective, but they were able to negotiate a buyout from the pension fund. We're hoping to get back to the table and settle a long-term deal with them, at least 3 years, to kind of bring them in line with the rest of the single and double store operators that we have under contract. And then we have one more 1718 888 contract out there. It's Preferred Meals in Brooklyn. That's a company that does something very different than most of what we do. It's a meal prep company, and they do a lot of delivery. I believe they also work with ferries and airplanes and airports and things of that nature. So it's a good opportunity for us. It's a new industry for us, and their contract is up a little bit later this year. All right. So I'm sure there's a handful of retirees on the Zoom. There always is, and there's at least one or two of you in the room. Our switch to the Aetna retiree plan was so Michelle, keep your eyes in your head. Michelle Wright, our office manager, just literally rolled her eyes at me. Was nothing short of a very bumpy plane ride. I'm very proud of the fact that transition is behind us. You know, the decisions had to be made a little bit quicker than we would have liked, and the trustees wanted this decision made by the first of the year. I can report to you that we have successfully transitioned quite a few hundred retirees, to the Aetna retiree plan, and that as we run through this year, I think it will become a little bit more commonplace. You know, the one thing I know about, not only your representatives at the union, but especially your retirees, change is never taken with open arms. Change is always seen as a bad thing. It's always a modification that you didn't ask for. It's not part of the deal. I didn't sign up for this. Fortunately or unfortunately, whether or not people sign up for things, the trustees have a mandate to provide a benefit package based on the income that we get. We do not get income for the retiree benefits. We get zero. So when that cost level continues to rise and the income level stays flat, it creates an issue. That's the reason we made the change. We weren't bored. Michelle in medical and Michelle Wright, our office manager, didn't just not have enough to do, so we decided to tinker with the benefit package. That's not how it works around here. We made a decision that could save the fund over $700,000 over the next 3 years, and that's a lot of money. So that's the reason that we made the change. I'm very happy that the majority of the bumps and bruises are through, and we're going to start very early in 2023 to transition the remaining group out as of January 1st, 2024. If you don't know this, if you're a retiree and you're getting the Medicare reimbursement, you will not be able to continue to do that after December 31st of this year, and you'll be given the option to move into the Aetna plan, or that'll be the end of the road for that piece of the benefit. But as I said, we'll be much better contact much earlier, mid through 2023, so the two Michelles don't want to stick a fork in my eye near the end of the year. I'm very happy to report that we have a new SRS store opening up, store 199 in Sawmill River Road in Elmsford, New York, will be opening up, SRS ShopRite, excuse me, on March 26th. Our friend Mr. Pasquale here, and I believe Vilmarie and Raphael are going to be going to that store opening. It's a great thing whenever we get a new store opening, but a ShopRite is a big store. It's a massive situation for us. It'll be quite a few hundred members that we get to add to the rolls. And for SRS, it provides opportunity for increased density and market share, and it provides promotional opportunities for our members that have been working their way through that system. So we look forward to it. Also, for those of you that are on this Zoom that know Shannon DeFries?
Yes.
Shannon DeFries, she had a death in the family today, so if you could keep her and her family in your prayers, I'm sure there'll be more information that'll come out about it at SRS if it hasn't come out already. So Shannon's a very good person, great HR person, works very well with Local 1500, so please keep her and her family in your prayers. Look, I'm going to read a prepared statement from my political rep, Zach, who gave this to me. I'm going to read it verbatim. Zach will yell at me tomorrow. It says, written in speech format, with the audience being our members. Zach's uber serious, if you don't know him. Our union is a voice for New York's future, and our political action last month was no exception. We defined your worker protections as the industry standard, and we go beyond them every day. We made it clear to our elected officials that your contract will not be legislated away, and that your value in our industry has no rival. In collaboration with our union and community partners, we advocated for high-quality, affordable childcare and accountability for our city's hospital pricing system. Lastly, with unprecedented opportunities for our state's workforce, like a redeveloped Kingsbridge Armory project or Nassau Coliseum's casino project, we've attended community roundtables and public listening sessions, not to spectate, but to amplify your voice in calling for affordable, healthy food and a high-road union job at the core of all of these projects. So as you can tell, this was written by someone with a heck of a lot more panache than me. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that.
You made it better, Rob.
He knows how to smooch butt, though, huh? That's why he's in the political realm. He says I made it better. That's a crock. But no, on a very serious level and a lot more colloquially, you know, we're active in all of the communities and municipalities that our members both live and work in. We have to be. You know, in today's day and age, it doesn't take much. You know, legislation comes up fast and furious, and not all of it has bad intentions, but some of the best intentioned legislation has negative impacts on our membership and has negative impacts on workers, union and non-union alike. You know, I had the luxury and the pleasure of sitting on 3 central labor bodies in the state of New York. I sit on the New York State AFL-CIO, the New York City Central Labor Council, and the Long Island Federation of Labor. In addition, I'm the Secretary-Treasurer for the UFCW District Council of New York and New Jersey. And the one thing that all of those central labor bodies have in common is that most factors of organized labor all have issues with certain pieces of legislation or certain elected officials or legislators. And, you know, it's weird, but our collective bargaining agreements are complex documents. And if you don't know that, you've probably never picked it up and read it from page 1 to page 40. They're very complex, and a lot of those clauses and a lot of the articles have been there since the 70s or before. And when an elected official tries for all the right reasons to legislate a specific section, a piece, or a handful of sentences, they do so without the level of experience that organized labor has for hundreds of years representing workers in all industries across the city and the state of New York. And for us, we would much prefer that organized labor was given a much easier path by the elected officials to bring workers to organized labor. We'll handle the rest. We negotiate contracts for a living. We represent workers for a living. We raise the standards of the middle class, and we've been doing so for generations. If legislators across the city, the state, or any municipality want to help organize labor as a whole, make the path to labor, make the path to a union election unimpeded. Take out captive audience meetings. Reduce the amount of time between the filing of the election and the actual election. Properly fund and staff the National Labor Relations Board in all offices across the state so that members don't have to wait 4 and 5 months to get to an election. Close the loopholes that non-union or union avoidance attorneys use every day to stamp out the fire of a good labor campaign in a new union company. Those are the things that we need our elected friends to do, both at the city and state levels. And I'm not saying that we don't appreciate the millions of other things that you do, but if you really want to help labor, that's the best way to help labor. We'll do the rest. I guarantee you that. So that's my PSA on politics. My phone has probably been texted 35 times. That's great. So let me just close with this and take a little bit of political license before we get into Q&A and the raffles. I'm really proud to say that we brought on a new banner, 4 new stores. Gourmet Garage is a company, it was a gourmet supermarket company in 2000, I believe, in 6, that we had a gourmet campaign against with a multitude of other gourmet grocers throughout New York City. And we were unsuccessful in organizing that campaign. We were also unsuccessful at that time with organizing Balducci's. I'm proud to say that after Gourmet Garage was purchased by the Village Supermarket Company, all throughout the pandemic, there were a number of conversations trying to organize those workers. In late December and early January, Local 1500 was able to successfully sign up over 90% of the workforce at Gourmet Garage. And on January 27th, the folks at Gourmet Garage certified and voted in overwhelmingly their first contract to be members of Local 1500. That's the first time we've increased our density in the city beyond a single store in Manhattan at a time. And I kid you not, it's a first contract. It's a contract that has a lot of room to grow. And one of the main reasons that we did some of the things we did in this campaign is that Gourmet Garage is not fiscally as sound as we'd like it to be. So we're not in the business of organizing someone out of a job. We worked with the company. We looked at the books. We know how sustainable the business model is. We did some things to protect the members in those stores if they have to close one based on a fiscal concern. And I'm very, very proud of not only the folks at Gourmet Garage for agreeing to trust us and have us be their representatives for the next 3 or 4 years, but I'm also proud of our staff. Our staff walked into a store. They've never met these folks before. They sat down, they talked to them, they befriended them, they quickly established themselves as the right choice, and those members all signed authorization cards, eventually union applications, and voted yes overwhelmingly on their first contract. For us, I think those of us that have been around a long time, you know, I crossed into middle age recently. I'm now at the half-century mark, and I've been here for going on 30 years. And the really crazy thing is I think sometimes we come to take for granted a lot of the things that we have. We don't really consider how long it took to get them. We don't consider how many people fought and died for some of the rights that we take for granted every single day in our collective bargaining agreements. And when you walk into a new store and you listen to a group of workers and you find out that the things that are most important to them are the ability to be represented, are the ability to have a voice on the job, are the ability to get more than just what the minimums that are provided by state or city labor law, it kind of goes a long way. You know, we have plenty of members here that have been around 25 or 30 years, and the slightest tweak in their collective bargaining agreement is like the end of the universe. And you deserve everything that's in your contracts and more, and I would never say anything differently. But it's a very different experience when our staff walks into a shop that's non-union, that's been non-union for over 20 years, and they are able to get their first contract, and they walk in and they have a different appreciation for some of the articles in your contracts that maybe they don't pay the same amount of attention to, or you don't pay the same amount of attention to. So it's a great thing for our union to have as many new contracts and as many new employers as we do right now. It's kind of a rebirth. The Blank Street campaign you heard about earlier are very small shops. The first neighborhood, I believe, was 24 people, I believe. The first one that we won? 30 people. So, you know, some unions out there may say, well, why would you want to organize that many stores if there's only 30 workers? if you don't know the history of this local union, we started with small fruit stands. That was the basis of this union, and then small bakeries and many, many, many small shops over the year. There were no, Stop and Shops and ShopRites in Elmsford, New York, when this union was founded. And it's really no issue for us to represent dozens of small stores and small groups of members. It's something that we've succeeded at for generations, and we intend to continue to succeed at. Everything's cyclical, right? So we're going through this whole thing with Blank Street, and a week ago in Long Island Business News, there was a front page article about not Dairy Barn, but The Barn. The Barn was formerly Dairy Barn. We represented the folks at Dairy Barn. Former President Spielman was Dairy Barn alumni. And the fact is that some of those sites are still owned by a third party that bought them from the Cosmans. And they struggled. Most of them are closed right now, but they're trying to rebrand the model and bring it back. And it's kind of the more things change, the more they say the same, right? In COVID, these stores were barn burners, forgive the pun. Nobody wanted to see other people. Nobody wanted to get out of their cars. So drive-up convenience stores was a grand slam. And then COVID kind of faded away, and they went back to the same type of obscurity they had had before. The benefit is those shops are going to come back online. And, whether or not we organize them ever again or whether or not we have the right to represent them, they are bringing some of the former Dairy Barn folks back. And I think that's a great thing, whether we represent them or not. The Dairy Barn stores were part of the fabric of Long Island for 40-plus years. To see them come back, I think for those of us that are, at or around that middle age mark or maybe even a little bit more advanced in age, I think it goes a long way to bringing back a little bit of nostalgia on Long Island. And for us, it's really special, especially with former President Spielman being the alma mater. So whether we grow in groups of members in 3, 4, and 30, or whether we grow in groups of members at 100, 200, or 300, as long as we're growing, that's something that we want to do. So congratulations to all of our staff for incredible jobs well done over the last number of months, and let's look forward to continued growth going forward. So thank you. I have way too many voicemails. All right, you got raffles to do, and there's potentially some questions. See, here comes the beard of knowledge. Thank you, sir. One page? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Go ahead, as our office staff quietly slides out the door. See you all tomorrow. All right, so here's the questions before we do the raffles. Brian Rosani, Stop and Shop 2595, asked if the workforce development information will be handed out in the stores. Yes, absolutely. Oh, workers' comp information, forgive me, will be handed out in the stores. Also, yes, absolutely. Asked, after the workers' comp lawyer was done speaking. Yeah, we'll definitely take care of that for you, Brian. Who has 2595? All right, Rob Ecker will absolutely reach out for you. He'll make sure you get it. Jody Wood, Stop and Shop 2551. When is the plexiglass coming down? It's a great question. I don't know. Who has 2551? Jeff Guardado. Not in the room. Well, I can tell you this, Jody. We'll find out. I'll have Jeff reach out to your employer and find out when they want to take it down. I don't know. We fought for so long to get it put up. I'm not in the take it down business, but if it's bothering you, we'll certainly have your union representative reach out to you. Well, some members don't agree with you, Jody. Apparently, there were some members that said leave it up afterwards. Sandy Bracco, hi Sandy, long time no see. Stop and Shop 522. Is the Aetna retiree program something that will affect us with more than 40 years and be retiring in the next few years? Do we get any perks? Sandy, I strongly recommend you call the pension department. 516-214-1330 or 516-214-1333. The first number will get you Terry Gorman. The second one will get you Monique Suarez. Both of those women will be happy to talk you through whatever and all options that are there, both for you today and in the future. So those are the only questions we got. That's great. We must be doing something well. Can cost of living ever come into negotiations and contracts? Still Brian Rosani. Brian, I can tell you, tying anything to COLA is an uncertain situation. It's the same thing as an MOB, which used to be a maintenance and benefits increase in the rates for the pension and welfare departments, the pension and welfare funds, not departments. I can tell you that it's not something that we shy away from trying to negotiate. The issue begs that the employer is basically then signing a blank check. Get rid of the late nights too. This is great. I love when I ask if there are any other questions and you guys just pile on at the end in the chat. But I can tell you that as someone who's bargained many contracts, and if EVP Waddy was here, I'm sure he would tell you, most employers want everything concrete. They want to be able to know what their costs are going to be. They want to be able to bake it in, because then that's how they can project their budgets going forward. Something like a COLA increase is not controlled by your employers, and again, the late nights are ridiculous. Okay, if you have issues with late nights, talk to your rep. What does the pension check start at? Deb Athens, there, and I know where she works. She works in Dan Supreme number 12. Deb, you can call Rob Ecker. He can help you out with that as well. There is no exact answer to that question. So I'm going to stop reading the chat box. You guys are all a little bit late with your questions. We're going to get to Paul and Greg. They're going to do your $25 gift cards to Stop and Shop. But before we do that, where is Danny? You got a box? Let's go. All right, Dan Gleason has asked me to pull a raffle ticket. If I pull my own name, I'm not giving it back. I'm just telling you that. Nah. I paid my money. All right, Dan Gleason's raffle is for the Scouts. Dan's on our executive board. And this, what am I picking, 3?
Yeah, pick 3. First will be third prize, then second prize.
Oh, we're going backwards, huh? I don't want to be first. All right, third prize is
It's $50 worth of scratch-offs.
$50 worth of scratch-offs. Here we go. Liz Garone. Garone? Yep. Liz Garone, congratulations. See Danny Gleason? He's got $50 for you. Shake it up. All right, here we go. Second prize is
$100.
$100 in scratch-offs. Cardland.
Cardland, the sponsor.
That's the sponsor. That's one way not to have to sponsor the whole thing. Win it back. Is that where is Cardland?
Right next to Meat Park.
All right,
Grand prize, $500 book of
your hands
scratch-offs.
empty.
$500. One hand, two hands. $500 book of scratch-offs. There it is. Fell out. All on its own. I didn't even have to pick it. It fell.
Chris Pierre.
Chris Pierre, congratulations. All right,
Thank you very much, sir.
my job here is done, and unfortunately I didn't win. All right, Paul and Greg, raffles are yours.
We're gonna do it in-house and Facebook the same?
Yeah, do in-house.
We're gonna do in-house separate.
What do you got?
We're gonna do in-house
Oh,
separate.
it's
Yeah.
right here, those are the, mix them up.
This is everybody?
Yep. We have a lot of non-eligibles. All right, you know what? Just do them.
Yeah, these 4,
They get it.
This say all the,
Do them.
Yep.
And pull 10, 11 out of the center.
okay.
all right. No, I heard that. Where's Peter? Peter, come on up and pull the first one. Actually, pull 2, okay? Okay. These are $25 Stop and Shop gift cards?
That's right.
All right. That looks like Therese Samuel?
Yes,
Teresa?
ShopRite 190.
ShopRite 190. Congratulations. This is Vincent Maffeo, ShopRite 114. Congratulations,
Vincent what?
Maffeo.
Okay.
All right,
Mafia.
let's see
Yeah, it's
who else we
Mafia.
got here.
It's Vincent Mafia.
I got it.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, Gail.
Pick 3, Gail.
I hope I pick my own.
No, you're here. You already have one.
You already got
You
one.
already got one.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. 2. 3. All right. Nicole Lopez. This is Stop and Shop 2589.
Go ahead.
Next one, Deborah Athens,
Deb
Dan's
Athens.
12, Forest Avenue. And J.T. Testa, Stop and Shop 2588.
Got it.
Okay? Who's next? Who else? Come on, Terry. 2, please.
I don't know what I got, 2,
You got
3.
2.
All right. Go on, you pick next. Go.
All right, this is Richard Johnston, Stop and Shop 2551.
Richie Johnson, good.
What's the first name? Rob. Is that a Rob?
Is that Rob Foster?
Looks like Rob Foster. Could be wrong here. King Cullen 26.
Yeah, Robbie Foster.
Okay, Robbie Foster. All right. How many we got left, Paul?
1,
got
2,
it.
3, 4.
4 left?
4 left?
It was, because there was 4 on the other pot, right?
Yeah.
4 left.
2, 3. That one don't want to separate.
There we go. Thank you. And the last 4. Nancy Koch, King Cullen 16. Karen Baromeo, Stop and Shop 2502. Emily Daniels, King Cullen 51. Renee Robithan? Robithan, is that right? Stop and
52.
Shop 529.
Let me see that one. Robot. Okay.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right, I'm gonna stay in this chair. So, well, that's a long one over there. I don't know what that says.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get, somebody's gotta read that one. All right, that's the end of our meeting. We need a motion and a second to adjourn. Can I get a motion? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
February 14th.